3 years ago, Bitcoin was about 10,000. And so if we look at the 3-year chart from August 10th of 2020 to today, Bitcoin's up 145%. The S&P is up 37%. The S&P is the cost of capital. Gold is down 3%. Bonds are down 18%. Microstrategy is up 254%. And our enterprise value is increased by a factor of 10 by, $8 billion or something. So we're glad we adopted Bitcoin. We would say that Bitcoin is returning 4x the cost of capital. And if you're not getting 37% gain in those 3 years via the S&P, then you're not keeping up with the cost of capital.
Michael Saylor and his company Microstrategy just had their quarterly report, and it was revealed that they have gone and bought an additional 467 Bitcoin for $14.4 million. Microstrategy now has a total of 152,800 Bitcoin purchased for $4.53 billion at an average price of $29,672 per Bitcoin. Following this, Michael Saylor appeared on CNBC and Bloomberg and discussed why the best strategy for him is to keep borrowing debt cheap at 1.5% and then using it to buy more Bitcoin. If you were able to borrow money at just 1.5% interest per year, would you use it to buy Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments. Essentially, it's a bet on whether or not you think Bitcoin will increase more than 1.5% per year. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where Saylor speaks through the Bitcoin ETF approval and why he thinks it will be a watershed moment for the entire space. Also guys, I have just launched a daily 5-minute crypto newsletter. I was so sick of seeing people charge hundreds to thousands of dollars per month for on-chain crypto data and breakdowns. So to give out as much value to you as possible, I am sending out a 5-minute daily newsletter which will cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news that you need to know all in a nutshell. And my promise to you is it will be completely free forever. Click the first link in my description, enter your email to join over 5,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now. If you don't like it, I will personally send you $1 whole, so you literally have nothing to lose. Now here's Michael Saylor with his Bitcoin outlook.
Well, our goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as we can on behalf of our shareholders. And, we acquired from cash flows. We bought that last tranche with $14.4 million worth of company cash. We also use equity and debt issuances from time to time. So we try to make sure that everything we do is always accretive. So we will acquire as much Bitcoin as we can as long as market conditions allow us to do it in a creative way for our common stock shareholders. So Bitcoin is 145% since August 10th of 2020, 3 years ago when we started on the strategy. And we've pursued a strategy of levered Bitcoin investments. So we use cheap capital. Our average cost of capital is like 1.6% or something in that range. And the combination of leverage and then offering our shareholders a yield, we don't charge them a fee to manage this Bitcoin. We actually aim to generate a yield. That's allowed us to actually generate 254% performance in the same time that Bitcoin was up 145%. So our strategy is sort of levered long, offer a yield, don't charge a fee, and then actively manage our position and actively manage acquisitions and financings between equity, debt, and cash flows in order to get the best result for our shareholders. Well, I think a spot ETF would be ideal for the market. A spot ETF will allow large hedge funds and sovereigns to come into the space with billions and billions of dollars and track the asset. MicroStrategy doesn't charge a fee, and we actively manage the business to generate a yield, and we use leverage, and we can actually tap into leverage because we're an operating company that an ETF couldn't do. So we view it as being really beneficial to the entire ecosystem. We don't have a capital structure that would allow for tens of billions of dollars to be invested in Bitcoin. So we're a unique instrument. We're that sports car. And, the ETFs, the spot ETF is going to be like super tanker. Bitcoin is the house everybody wants, but it's in a foreign country and you have to pay cash to buy it. It takes about a year and you can't rent it and mortgage it. MicroStrategy is that same house in the best neighborhood. with 10,000 acres of ranch land attached to it, and we can generate a yield, and you can actually buy it financed by your local bank, right? We're a compliant security. So if you're an institutional investor and you're looking for an easy way to get Bitcoin exposure that doesn't charge you a fee, that is financeable, that is good collateral, then Microstrategy is pretty compelling right now. And I think that it's important to point out that we will always be differentiated from the ETFs because they can never offer leverage. They have no yield. They have limited hedging options. They're not diversified, and they charge a fee. The operating company provides diversification for investors versus the volatility of Bitcoin, and it also allows us to borrow money very cheaply. Our blended cost of capital is like 1.5%, and we're able to invest that money into Bitcoin. And on the other hand, our Bitcoin investment Bitcoin itself is up 145% since we started buying Bitcoin. And that Bitcoin position creates the volatility in the stock that allows us to borrow and raise capital cheaply in order to buy more Bitcoin and grow the business. But we go through successive cycles of leveraging and deleveraging. We've been deleveraging now, and generally our decision about whether or not we leverage or deleverage is a function of the market opportunity and what we think is most accretive for our shareholders. Well, really, there's a growing consensus that Bitcoin is a unique and valuable international asset, and that's being endorsed by politicians, it's being endorsed by regulators, it's being endorsed by investors. You're hearing money managers like Larry Fink say this, and that has created a change in sentiment. The odds of spot ETF being approved were 1% 6 months ago, then they went to 50%, and this morning they were 65% according to Bloomberg analysts. So that's really driving the near-term sentiment, but plus the fact that there's so much chaos in the crypto industry, Bitcoin is emerging as the safe haven institutional asset if you want to play this space without trying to parse through the politics, the legal, and the regulatory complexity. I think spot ETF is great news for the space. Bitcoin you could think of as this beautiful house in a scary neighborhood that you have to pay for in cash, takes a year to buy, and you can never rent it. The spot ETF is like that same beautiful house in a nice neighborhood, and you can buy it tomorrow, no money down, and you can rent it, refinance it from your bank. It's not a threat to MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is like that beautiful house with 10,000 acres of ranch land behind it that generates cash flow, that has a management team that can borrow money at 1-2% interest in order to develop the land. So we offer yield and we offer leverage through active management, which is unique for a set of our investors. We obviously don't have room in our capital structure for tens of billions of dollars of sovereign wealth or major hedge funds, so they need a spot ETF in order to take a position in the space. Now, I think looking back 3 years is very clarifying. 3 years ago, Bitcoin was about 10,000. And so if we look at the 3-year chart from August 10th of 2020 to today, Bitcoin's up 145%. The S&P is up 37%. The S&P is the cost of capital. Gold is down 3%. Bonds are down 18%. MicroStrategy is up 254%. And our enterprise value is increased by a factor of 10 by, $8 billion or something. So we're glad we adopted Bitcoin. We would say that Bitcoin is returning 4x the cost of capital. And if you're not getting 37% gain in those 3 years via the S&P, then you're not keeping up with the cost of capital.
So there's Michael Saylor's outlook and his strategic move to acquire an additional 467 Bitcoin. His perspective on borrowing money at just 1.5% interest to invest in Bitcoin raises a compelling question about risk, reward, and the future trajectory of the crypto market. Saylor's thoughts on the Bitcoin ETF approval as a watershed moment have undoubtedly given us all something to think about. The crypto space continues to evolve, and these strategic decisions are shaping the financial landscape in unprecedented ways. If you found this video insightful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive content and expert opinions. If you haven't already, sign up for our free daily 5-minute crypto newsletter by clicking the first link in the description. Stay informed and make savvy investment decisions with our daily insights. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and it provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.